Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the Haunt Collection Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chris Codina, and my neck is sore, so is my back. I went and saw Machine Head last night, and they're a very energetic band with a lot of nice and heavy riffs, so me being a good metal fan, there was lots of headbanging and stuff like that. No moshing. I was never a mosher. I was kind of like standing near the back. But headbanging is fun. But that I was sore headbanging when I was 20, and it doesn't get better when you're 30. But fortunately, that won't get in the way of presenting a new episode, which, hey, it's on time this week, I believe. Yeah, so I don't really have too much to report on this one, so we can just get to talking about the story. I just went ahead and, looked at what were the top rated ones on No Sleep, and I found one that was posted 11 days ago from this date, so that would be February 13th it was posted, by user Heyong. I don't entirely know Reddit, interface. It has, a January 2017 and, a trophy symbol next to it. So I don't know if it was picked as, one of the stories of the month for January, even though it came out in February. I don't know. But I assume that means it, was well liked by users. And it has 4,022 upvotes. Like we've seen in the past, that doesn't necessarily always mean it deserves them, but sometimes they do. And we'll see. That's kind of what the show is for, right? To take a look at this stuff. Off the bat, points off for the kind of clickbaity No Sleep title. It is called, "If you see a Facebook ad for choices that matter, avoid it at all costs." And it's some weird capitalizations, like, if Facebook ad, choices matter, avoid, and costs are all capitalized. And it's I'm not sure about the choices there. It's like they couldn't decide if they wanted it to be a phrase or a title. But we won't deduct too hard from that, because I know that's just kind of how No Sleep is. And I'll probably just put, choices that matter for the title in the video, because otherwise it's much too ridiculous. Anyways, let's get into it. I'm not sure if you've seen those little ads on Facebook, but it was one of the few that caught my eye. It was one of those try to find the murderer type deals where you receive a box every month with new clues. It was called Choices That Matter. Each box showed you a different case, and the thing that set this apart from every other one was the fact that if you managed to figure out 5 cases, the company promised to give you free cases for the rest of the year. I mean, at $15 a month, I was already pretty much convinced. You see, I don't really have any hobbies. Just like everyone else, I work, I eat, I sleep. Sometimes I'll play some games. Most of my free time is spent zoning out on either Reddit or Facebook. So yeah, what is it? The loot box type thing, Hunt a Killer, that I hear advertised on podcasts and stuff like that. I assume that this is what it's referring to, where it's like, oh, you have to try and solve the serial murderer case, and you'll get clues and stuff every month to kind of help put everything together. Which sounds kind of fun, but I don't know. I never looked into it really, and I enjoy true crime podcasts and all that, but I'm always kind of iffy on loot boxes and all that. Yeah. So interesting premise, I suppose. This with what we're going to get, a sort of insidious, Hunt a Killer type box, loot box thing. There's not too much to it at the moment. We don't really even know too much about our narrator. He just kind of says yeah, I'm a person who looks at the internet. Not too much there, but Yeah, let's continue. Of course, I looked at the official website and made sure it wasn't a scam, and within 10 minutes the website processed my payment and assured me that I would be receiving my first case within the next 5 to 7 business days. I will give you a detailed list of what came with the first case. The ones I received after were all pretty much the same, more or less. Inside of the first case was the following. 1. Small flashlight, like one of the ones that you see at the Dollar Tree. Batteries were included. 2. 3 pages of information, which was 3 pages of parchment-type paper. It had the names of 4 people and reasons why each of them was a suspect. 3. A man named James was the one that sent me the box. They wanted to make me feel like I'm a secret spy that works on the case in the background. He sent me 4 additional photographs and a magnifying glass. Real considerate of him. I was a bit disappointed. After looking over the pages of information and checking the photos, I quickly pieced together that Ferdinand Ghilarducci was the passionate lover that killed his girlfriend's husband. On the 3rd photo, I saw a little face poking out of the window of where the victim's room was supposed to be. With the magnifying glass, I could easily make out that it was the face of Ferdinand. Case closed, I guess. I went on the website, logged into my account, and typed in the killer's name. The screen stayed still for a second before bouncing to a plain white screen with the words, "Thank you for catching the killer," written in red ink on the middle. Though it was simple and easy, I was somewhat hooked. It was interactive enough for me to fully immerse myself into the case, and I decided to keep going with it. Hell, I even got a couple of my coworkers to sign up as well. I hope this goes somewhere interesting because it's not doing anything for me at the moment. Obviously I kind of get the feeling there's going to be something sinister about these photos and all that. There's going to be some kind of twist, but, I'm not even that, intrigued about it. It looks like this is a shorter one, so fortunately we should be able to see, where it goes soon enough. Because, this one's leaving me dry, as they say. The cases continued to come, and to my absolute delight, they became harder and harder. The 5th case was the most difficult. I wouldn't have been able to figure it out until I realized a strand of brown hair taped to the back of one of the pictures. There was only 2 suspects that had brown hair, but one of them couldn't have been the killer. They had an alibi that stated they were on the other side of the state of Louisiana at the time. I logged in the name, Logan Sanders, and watched as the screen bounced to a completely blank screen this time. I expected some sort of congratulatory message, but instead, 5 names appeared on the screen. The 5 names that I listed as the killer. A small X appeared on the left side of 3 of the names, and an O appeared on 2 of them. Below the names, words started to pop up and form into sentences. We take your choices very seriously. So seriously, in fact, that we take it upon ourselves to eliminate the people you choose. Unfortunately, you have made the wrong choice 3 out of 5 times. These are the ones you wrongfully killed. I let out a nervous chuckle. It still felt like a game. I figured they would just tell me that I would have to keep paying for the cases from now on. But instead, 3 pictures filled the screen. The first was of Ferdinand Ghilarducci. He was in a completely white room, suspended in the air. His midsection was sliced open, and his intestines were almost touching the ground. Oh boy. Here we go. Anyways, let's just keep going. The second photo was a lady by the name of Molly Stover. I thought she killed her husband, Brad, but I was wrong, I guess. Her body was cut into 3 pieces. The first piece was her head, the second was her body, and the last was her waist and legs. They were placed in random corners of the room. Brad's corpse was distorted into a heart shape and placed in the middle of the room. The last one was Logan Sanders, the one I submitted just minutes ago. He was tied up to a chair in the middle of a white room. There were 3 children holding knives. I could see the terror in his eyes, and I couldn't do anything. I wanted to believe it was fake, but I couldn't. It's hard to perfectly replicate the look of absolute fear, the same look I saw my mother give my father before he shot her in the head during the middle of an argument. Okay. I shut my laptop off and sat in the middle of my bed. I couldn't do anything. I didn't want to do anything until my phone started to ring. I looked at the screen. It was a call from one of my coworkers. I didn't answer it, but almost immediately I received a text from him. Slowly I unlocked my phone and looked at the text. A feeling of dread overtook me when I saw a photo of a computer screen. It showed him submitting my name in the website. Underneath the photo was a short message from him. Holy shit, dude, that is fucking sick. I didn't even know we could volunteer ourselves as suspects. This shit is badass. Tell me how you did it. I'm doing this bad, I suppose. I'm not like talking about this at all. Like, I don't. This doesn't do anything for me. It's like I feel like it's kind of a trend to do the whole website that kills you type thing. The red room type stuff. All the interactive deep web chat rooms where you get to kill people and stuff like that. And like, yeah, this doesn't feel scary. You kind of see you knew something was going to happen. There's nothing scary about it. It was just some gore, and not even like good, interesting gore. Just kind of, yeah. And like even used like, oh, there was a bunch of children holding knives. Like, what? And I want to finish the verse before commenting on it too much, but like the narrator randomly mentions that his father murdered his mother, and like why is that in there? Like, does it have any bearing to this story? We'll find out, but I'm having my doubts. Let me just finish this. There's 3 paragraphs left, and we'll talk about it. This is unfortunate. But I think we're having a pretty good streak of stories, so it was bound to happen at some point. I grabbed everything I could think of: my wallet, my phone, the 2 portable chargers I have, $300 in cash I kept for emergencies, and my car keys. I started to run out the front door when I saw a white van pull into my driveway. Without a second thought, I ran out the back door and kept running. I don't really want to say where I am right now. I'm sure they would be able to track me down easily if I did, but I'm hidden for now. I'm not asking for help. There really isn't much you can do for me. But if you're reading this and you see an ad for choices that matter, don't fucking do it. Avoid it. Tell everyone else to avoid it. Don't be like me. Even if I survive, I still have the lives of 3 innocent people on my conscience for life. Oy. Yeah, I don't know, like, it's nothing, kind of, right? It's a quick splash of gore with a kind of predictable, oh, hey, here's this website that'll kill you type thing. It's, you mess around with this website and someone puts your name in, they'll murder the person. And it's kind of like, why? How are they doing this? And why did our narrator? Well, you know nothing about our narrator. Like the beginning is just, yeah, I'm just like some dude who like eats and sleeps and plays video games and looks at the internet sometimes. Like he kind of made it that kind of a point to say that he was just like a boring normal person, and then he just randomly interjects that he apparently watched his mother get shot in the head by his father for no reason. Like, there was no reason to put that in there. It's just sort of, it just felt cheap. Like, it's just kind of like a shock like type thing, like just for no reason. Like, it's just there. And it feels so cheap and unnecessary. Yeah, like, I mean, I suppose the writing is fine. There wasn't really much in the way of any like grammatical issues or structure issues. Really, it was just kind of there. But like, that's nothing to write home about either. But what could be done to improve this story? That's something constructive, right? Instead of just saying like, blah, this is boring. See, this is tough. It's tough for me to think like off the top of my head like that. Like what could be done to improve this story? Um, Maybe just kind of, I don't know, take it in a different direction. What would I do with this story? If I had like the same idea, evil, loot crate type thing, evil, true crime game type thing. I don't know. I would. It's not like a story I would want to write in the first place. But what if instead of doing it like, oh well, whoever's name you put in, I don't know. Yeah, it's just tough. Like, how many? Maybe this is just me being like a bad writer, but like, how many ways can you go with this that aren't like boring and predictable and like whatever? How many ways can you take? I got a true crime loot box and I'm trying it out, and feel like somebody's gonna die. Like even I think it might be you would have to do it so it wasn't quite as obvious. But maybe even if it was something like, I feel like it's still kind of predictable, but it would depend on how obvious it was. Like as if you were solving the clues, you would realize that maybe it was somebody you knew. If it was you that you realize was like going to be the next victim, which is still kind of but I don't know, maybe that could involve some like nuance in writing to make it interesting, whereas there's like no nuance here or anything, and that's a big reason why it's not interesting. Like this concept could be interesting, it's just kind of there's no passion to it. It feels like it just kind of feels like this person wrote a story just to have something to put on No Sleep. I don't know, I feel like it's like super insulting, but at the same time, that's just like the vibe I'm getting is this author didn't really care that much about the story, which is, like I said, it's really mean to say, and like I don't want to I'm not like attacking the author. That's not it. It's just kind of, like I said, like I feel like it's like the noise I make sometimes when stories aren't like at least fun bad, when it's just like ugh, like disappointing. I just kind of, and maybe I shouldn't fault the author for this. It's I should. Oh boy, I feel like I'm attacking people, and I don't want to attack people, but like this is kind of a thing, right? Like this is not a high quality story, but it's rated as such. There's nothing here, I'm being so negative, and I feel like I'm not being constructive at all. But like I don't want this to be just like a rage thing where it's just like, yeah, listen to this guy talk a bunch of crap about creepypastas. I don't want that to be the show. I want to at least offer something. But like this is kind of like the frustration when you see like these high rated stories and they're not good and they're not interesting. And most of the people who write these things are, they're amateurs, and you can't expect, Poe when you're, when it's just, a high school student, a college student, killing time, after homework and writing a story. And, I want people to write stories. Write stories, please, write them. But critiques should be given because critiques are there to improve, the work. Good criticism that's what it's for. It's to improve. But when you have stuff that's subpar that gets praised, it just encourages more subpar. It encourages, just, gore that has no point and is, there's like that gore wasn't even like what it was. Just it's some bodies, or you get stuff like, oh, hey, people get good praise for using creepy kids, so let's put in 3 kids with knives in there. Trauma is good, so let me mention that my character's parents got into a violent fight, and like there's no substance there. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, this feels like it was just kind of like, oh hey, what internet stories get over on, or what horror gets over on the internet on No Sleep and stuff like that, and let me just pick and choose and just kind of plug them in like an ad lib, or a mad lib rather. Like here's some sentences, and here's a blank, you fill in the blank, and let me plug in my my severed torso hanging from a ceiling here, and my, oh, the thing was actually murdering people here, and oh, my parents killed each other here, and at the end, and they're coming for me too, let me plug that in. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It just kind of, it feels so cookie cutter, and I wish this community had higher standards, and it sounds so like snobby and elitist and egotistical, but it isn't just because like I want to read better stories. It's because I want people to try to write better stories. Like if someone told, what was the author's handle, their username, Hey Yong. If someone told Hey Yong that, hey, someone that's, obviously smarter than me, I suppose, that is better to articulate, has a better time articulating themselves and all that. If someone said, hey, good try, these were the issues, these are things you could do better, I look forward to the next one. That's so much more valuable than giving him 4,000 upvotes on something that, because it doesn't encourage him to improve. I'm assuming, I don't know if Hyung is a him or a her, sorry. It doesn't encourage the author to improve. And, that should be something that's encouraged. I mean, it doesn't mean that they won't, but not only does it potentially discourage the author from improving because it's like, well, hey, everybody loved this, I should just do more of this. It's everybody else that reads that and say, hey, this is what people like, so let me write this so I can get all my thousands of upvotes on No Sleep and all that and get read on the podcast and stuff. Because, it's just, it's not good. It's just reinforcing a bad thing, It's reinforcing a plateauing of the art and all that. And, yeah, it's just, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm being so mean, but hopefully I'm not, and hopefully I'm being somewhat constructive, or at least like I'm making sense on why I'm reacting this way on my commentary. Like I said, I didn't start the show to rip apart bad creepypastas. That's not my thing. I don't think I have the right to do so, for one. I don't think I'm that great of a writer that I just reserve the right to like really just go and be like, you guys suck, for one. Two, I care about the medium and I want to see better things from it. And that's why I, whenever I mention these super popular stories and these, ones that get all this praise that I feel don't deserve it, it's because I want better for the community, and not just because like I'm some elitist snob that only that thinks like only like Slime Beast can write stories or whatever. Like that's not it. Yeah. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. It's like I'm half tempted to just not post this episode because I feel like I'm being a jerk. But yeah, it's not what I'm going for, And like I said, I don't know if I properly critique this story, which doesn't help. But hopefully my desire to want to critique it better, and in explaining why is enough to add some value to this. Before we wrap here, let's look at some of the comments. Because that's important. Let's get some perspective on what people are saying about this, and that it's so well reviewed. That's just a comment on the pricing. I initially thought this was just a review. I didn't realize where I was reading from until about halfway through. I wonder if, because No Sleep has the whole, kayfabe, this is supposed to be real and in character thing. I wonder if that person is just trying to be like, this is so realistic, I didn't realize I was on No Sleep. But if that's true, then, Yeah, here's someone, they quoted the sentence about the narrator's father murdering his mother. You can't just mention something this deep and carry on with the story. What happened to your parents? And I agree that you can't just mention something and then carry on. Not that I want to know what happened, more that you can't mention something like that and then have it have no purpose to the story. Someone responds to this person, it took me out of the immersion because I'm missing something and all that. Because there's no point. Hold on, what does this say here? Okay, so someone said this that took them out of the immersion. What if the OP was the one that actually killed their mom, and that's why he's a suspect in his friend's case now? Only reason I can think about why they just randomly mention it. And then someone responds, or the mother's murder is the mystery his friend was given to solve. OP would be a logical suspect, as someone who actually subscribes to the mystery boxes this is based on. I can confirm that not everyone receives the same box or set of clues at the same time. Shit. This is from the author. Shit. Hit the nail right on the head. Bravo. I really did not expect anyone to get that. Wait. Hold on. So what he's saying in the comments, or what the author, Hayoung, is saying in the comments, is that he put that in there as a subtle hint that would be why he's on there, is because his mother was murdered. Hold on. Okay, so he saw his mother's murder took place. It says, I saw my mother give my father the same look I saw my mother give my father before he shot her in the head during the middle of an argument. So if he saw that, I feel like then the murder's not unsolved. Did this say that the murders were unsolved? I mean, it's kind of what it implies. To try to implies it's trying to figure it out and all that. And it seems like this gives information about the victims. Wouldn't the coworker not only be like, "Oh, hey, dude, you're in the you're in there as a suspect," wouldn't he be weirded out by this case being about his coworker's mother being shot in the head? Okay, I guess maybe that's why he put that in there, was to explain why he's a suspect for a murder. I guess that makes sense. Okay, so it wasn't pointless, but at the same time, it's still kind of okay, whatever. I don't know. I don't feel I got worked, or I missed this thing. It. Now that I see it, I guess it's not that hard to see, but at the same time, it's not some profound fridge horror where this thing kind of comes back at the end to actually, this was why this was. It's a hint drop and all that, but it's still pretty whatever. It's not it doesn't really change the quality of the story. It's just at least, okay, this had a reason. It takes, takes some points, put some points back on it. It's still not passing, you know what I mean? But, yeah, okay, I think that's about it. Uh, Hopefully you enjoyed the episode, like I said. Hopefully I wasn't too mean or off-putting or anything like that. Hopefully it makes sense. And, it was worthwhile to listen to and all that. So, yeah, as usual, thanks for listening. If you want to read the story yourself, links are in the description and all that, as well as links for the Haunt Collection's Twitter and Facebook and such. So, yeah, with that, thanks for listening again, for sure. And I will see you next time. Later.